Good evening, you all. I've been waiting for a couple minutes for all people to sign in, to see how Zoom works, but this is the moment we're finally gonna start. Welcome, all of you. I'll switch on my camera so you can see. Let me see, where is it? There we go. Hi there. A very good evening to all of you who made time for this webinar I have a family myself, so I know how difficult it is to free yourself up, especially around this time, but not for one of our participants from Australia. It's Kaina, she's joining here. Very welcome. Welcome, Abby, great you're here. Aurora, very welcome. Helwig, very welcome. Theo as well. I'm so pleased that we're all here together so we can so I can share my knowledge with you. And I'll just want to check, how is the sound? Can you hear me? Can you just raise your hand in the chat just to know if you can hear me, if the sound is all right? Yes, Abby can hear me. And I'm also very curious, where are you from? Hi, Kaina, I know where you're from. Sound is good. Great. So where are you from? Are you from joining? Because this is an international webinar, and I've been, sending it to some friends here and there abroad. For instance, my friend from Australia, Abby is from Amsterdam, and I always like to be with this international group together. And I do think in times like this, we all need to help each other and support each other. So I'm gonna do a short introduction for myself for the people who don't know me yet. There are some friends, some old, some new. And I'll do the introduction from a couple of pictures. First of all, I'm always saying I'm a mother. I'm a mother of two children, Lawrence and Marie-Hélène. They're 10 and 14. In the middle, my daughter, there was her birthday. I live in Freeland, which is a tiny, tiny village next to Amsterdam, where I have my own healthy lifestyle studio. And there I help people, I coach people, I do tests on them, and all to help them with their health. What I also do is I'm teaching, well, currently from my own health studio and not from Amsterdam. I'm teaching in the Bewustzijnsschool as well, twice every month, and also with a wellness revolution, where I'm the teacher in health and nutrition. I'll explain more about the health, a wellness revolution, what that is. Another thing I do is as you see in the picture below, I do lunch and learns. A lunch and learn is where I go into companies and I give a lecture, everything food, health related. And as you see above, I take my scan machine and then at the moment help people to get better insights in their health. So this is a tiny story about me. I'm 42 years old, and well, I think that's about it. A very short introduction. Here you've got some pictures of my healthy lifestyle studio, and the things I work most of the time with entrepreneurs. I've got a very special reason to work with entrepreneurs. I'll tell you a bit more later about it, a very personal why. And I help people looking better after themselves, actually, in a mind, body, spirit way by longer coaching trajecten. I don't know really what the English word is. Anyway, but also shorter, like this healthy lifestyle highlight. It's a scan and 3 hours, and so I combine actually all kinds of things, and so these are the things I do. And you might be wondering yourself, what is exactly a health and wellness coach? Because you might have heard from a lifestyle coach or a health coach or a dietitian. And a health and wellness coach is something special, something different. I did my education, I got my diploma, my certificate from a wellness revolution. A wellness revolution is a pioneering educational organization who teaches people to become a health and wellness coach. And they teach the newest pioneering sciences, which, well, I'm really excited about those sciences because I did orthomolecular nutrition, voedingsleer, that's the Dutch word. Anyway, that's all about vitamins and minerals, and but to look at health from a holistic point of view, and that's what a wellness revolution does. They have online courses for people who are interested in health. There's one starting coming week, and you become an official, certified, internationally certified health and wellness coach. And I became a teacher there as well at the Wellness Revolution in healthy nutrition. When I see my clients, when they come in my healthy lifestyle studio, I always tell them, I said, listen, I'm a health and wellness coach. I'm not a doctor. I don't cure or medicate diseases. The only thing I do is that I help you and I give you tips and tricks so you can boost your immune system and your body can do what it is designed to do, to heal itself. But it needs the right tools to that. So I always start with everything I do, also with the scan, the Body Analyst, which is such a cool device because you can scan if someone has like deficiencies or how our kidneys doing. You measure the frequency of the cells. Very interesting. Anyway, I always said this is not a diagnosis. This is just a reference. So I always want to make that very clear as well. And as I already said, that I've been taught, but also naturally have this mind, body, spirit approach to health. Because you can have this wonderful, healthy diet, but if you're alone and miserable in your apartment or in your house, you're not so healthy actually. Or you're very mindful and you meditate a lot, but you have a crappy diet, you're also not so healthy. So, this mind, body, spirit approach, which I use with my clients, my specialty is nutrition, healthy nutrition. And a lot of my colleagues, they, for instance, they're also health and wellness coaches, but they go more into energy work or different aspects or kinesiology. So you can go as a health and wellness coach to the field you really like. And I have this, well, natural feeling of wanting to help people with their health a natural way. And as a small kid, I grew up here in a village very near here, and we had this big forest behind our house. And I always wanted to go outside. I wanted to play little witch and making potions and lotions and to heal my teddy bear and the fairies and my little brother. And so I was always, as a child onwards, wanting to help people with their health in a natural way. And then I wanted to study medicine. I wanted to work with the Doctors Without Borders and go to Africa. But I wasn't very good at science and physics. So my dad said, Rose, law is a very, very good study. So I've got my degree in law hanging on the wall next to me. But now I'm totally there where I always wanted to be, what my passion is, what my mission is, what my why is, and that is what I'm going to share tonight with you. To give you practical tips and tricks, what in these times you can do for your own health, what you can do to boost your immune system. Very important. Because, looking at the whole situation, there's some, I think the 2 points of attention now is, first of all, the belief that you can't do anything to prevent infection, or the fear that when you're infected, there's nothing what you can do and that your whole healing process is out of control. And I strongly believe that that's not true. I strongly believe, yes, you can do a lot. And we do have to take this situation very, very seriously. But there are many things what you can do to protect yourself and your loved ones. And I've got 2 kids downstairs here. So, I want to protect my family as well. And I don't want to say that if you, do all these things and your immune system is super strong, that you will not get infected by the virus. But your symptoms might be different. And so, I really think that working on prevention, making yourself as strong as possible, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And let me first say, I want to say, as we're going to focus on the body part, but I do want to say something about the mind and the spirit part, because I do think that's very important. We've got someone else joining us as well, Sandra. Very welcome, Sandra. We just started, we just had this little introduction, and so now I just explained why I do what I do, and that a health and wellness coach is, approaching health in a mind, body, spirit way. And I just want to mention a bit about the mind and the spirit. And, in these times when it's tough, when you have financial problems or relationship problems, health problems, and someone says, you need to stay positive. That's hard. That's difficult to, from the inside out, change your whole mindset. That's hard work. And yes, of course, positive thinking, affirmations is important, visualizations, these all are important to change from the inside out. But it's tough. And I've been super inspired by a little clip on YouTube. And it was a coach, like a mindset coach for sports teams in America. He was interviewed, and in the next slide, I'll share with you what the clip was. He was interviewed by another guy, and he said he was super successful with what he was doing, working on the mindset of the teams he was working with. He said that was they battled most with a negative uh, um, verbalization of their feelings. And I just told them, because yes, of course, meditation, affirmations, visualization was important for them. But I just said to my teams, just don't say stupid stuff out loud. And that made a whole change, because he said, I just taught them the data. And there's been a lot of research going on if you say something out loud, what kind of power that has. If you say something negative aloud, then it's got like 4 to 7 times as powerful. So what if you say something negative out loud about, in his case, complaining about the coach and the weather and all these things that really influenced the game. So what I want to say to you guys is that if positive thinking could be hard these days, then switch to neutral thinking, because we tend to believe if you can't think positive, therefore you need to be negative. No, there's also such a thing of neutral thinking, and your behavior which influences it. And therefore try to refrain from speaking out loud in negative terms. I was in the supermarket the other day. There were 2 youngsters, and they were a bit joking with each other, and they were like, well, we're gonna die, all of us gonna die anyway. And they just said it a bit jokingly, but the power of the outspoken word is so powerful. And the crazy thing is, in that video clip, they have this example of a guy who he was a mechanic, and he needed to repair like a train compartment where the cooling elements are, and he got locked in there, and he got locked inside, and he panicked. And this coach was telling about this story, and he just totally freaked out, thinking, oh my goodness, I'm locked here, I'm gonna die. He found a pen, and he was writing things down, saying, this will probably be my last words, and I'm getting so cold, and I feel I can't breathe. And eventually, a couple hours later, they found him in the compartment, and he died. But the crazy thing is, the whole cooling system of that compartment of the train truck thing was broken, so it wasn't cold. And the airflow was still going on, so he could still breathe. But his whole mindset was like paralyzed and panicked him. So in these times, if you scroll on Facebook all the time, don't do it. It really gets to you. So, and also with each other, stop saying negative things or expressing your doubts out loud constantly. So let's start with number 1. That was the tip number 1 of how to take better care, because negative thinking really affects your immune system, and negative talking even more. Well, this is the clip. Very cool YouTube film. Mindset expert shows how the negative thoughts go. It's from Trevor Moawad. It's a channel, and it's from Tom Bilyeu. I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, very cool to check this one out. And now let's continue to your beautiful body. Today I'm going to talk about 21 tips and tricks. And some might be open doors to you, and some might think like, oh, yeah, I'm already doing that. But what I heard, because I've been doing this a couple times last couple days, and the remarks I got, I said, wow, it's very valuable to have it all combined. And because you know this, or you heard about that and you forgot about that. Anyway, I'm trying to combine all these mind, body, spirits tips for you so you can really support your own immune system. But also some newest insights, or some insights in these newest sciences like glycobiology or epigenetics. And what are those? There are some people on this call I work with, or who have been students of the wellness revolution, so they know what I'm talking about. But for me, like the whole idea of glycobiology, it's a science where cells communicate. I will talk about that. Or epigenetics, what is that? I'll shortly tell you about it. What happened in the cooling truck, in the train, my story, what I just told, is about how your thoughts can influence all things in your body. And that's actually what epigenetics, the science, is about, in how thoughts can influence actually your genes. Because you can have a certain package of genes, but who is deciding what genes go on and off? Well, first of all, your thoughts have a very big influence on it. And second of all, glycobiology, which is cell-to-cell communication. And as you see below the little picture, you have this cell with on top all these little hairies. When I was in school and have biology, I learned that the cell was round and there was like a nucleus inside, and everything happened inside the cell. My daughter of 14 learns the same. So, but they just recently discovered that on the surface of the cell are growing all these little hairs, and way more than what you see in the picture below. And I've got a little picture of a real cell. And I want to start with you with the beginning of health, because I can tell you a lot of things of what you should eat. But first of all, can you absorb it? We're going to talk about bowels as well. But also, how is your cellular level? And the deepest layers of your health, everything starts on the cellular level. Because what do these antennas do, actually, as you see? Well, they didn't used to have such strong microscopes so they can take a picture of a cell like this, and now they can. And if all those hairies are intact, then what happens? One cell, all the hairies, one cell, all the hairies, they meet each other, the hairies go into each other like lock and key, and they communicate. They say, I need vitamin C there and there. Okay, so, and that cell does what it needs to do. Or I need vitamin A there and there. But what if those hairies they're missing here and there some hairies? You've got these open patches, like in a forest, open patches in a forest. Then these cells meet and they go into each other, but they're like, I need this, look there. There's miscommunication. And another thing why these hairies are so important, when you have a cell and all these hairies there, and this is the whole science of glycobiology, which I'm explaining like in a nutshell, as we would say in Dutch, Jip en Janneke taal, is there comes a bacteria and he got stuck in all those hairies. So he comes and waits for a microphage, and he kills and eats the bacteria. Everything foreign which does not belong in your body is being destroyed by a macrophage. As well, virus comes in, wants to get into the cell, got stuck in all those hairies, and the macrophage comes and eats it up. But what if you have open patches on the surface of the cell, and the bacteria comes along, goes into the cell, and does what he wants to do there, but what your body doesn't want you to happen. Anyway, it can make you sick, ill, or whatever. Same with the bacteria. So those hairies around the cell are pretty important in my point of view. And because the cells are these building blocks of your beautiful body, and the cells communicate, and those hairies, they're like antennas for communication, but they also protect you from intruders. And they found out that this pioneering science of glycobiology, there are 8 non-sweet sugars on molecular level that, together with protein, make these hairies grow. Well, isn't it super important to have those 8 essential sugars or in your diet or in a supplement? Yes, and that's what I say, tip number 2, super important to have these 8 essential sugars in your body. I can talk like an hour on only this subject, so perhaps I'll do another class only on glycobiology. But for now, this is like in a nutshell. And later on, if you want to have information about this subject or that subject, there's possibilities to ask questions, but also to leave your email in the chat if you want more information about a specific subject. If you want to look at a film where this whole process of cell-to-cell communication and bacteria and virus is explained, Sweet Language of Life on YouTube. And it's not only me talking about this or Wellness Revolution teaching glycobiology, it's the National Academy of Science, which is the highest science organization in America. You can only be part of that if you're a Nobel Prize winner. And they wrote a very thick report on glycobiology. And they say, and it was only recently, in Science Land recently, 2012, they said every living creature on this planet has cells with those hairies, glycocalyx it's called. And every disease has got to do with a disturbance of those hairies. That's a pretty bold statement for science organization like the National Academy of Science to make. And they said this knowledge needs to become mainstream. Doctors should be taught about it. It should be taught to students in high schools. Everyone should know about that you've got vitamins, minerals, fats, and glyconutrients. But we're not there yet. This is, it's a pioneering science. And with the Wellness Revolution, we are really we're based in the Netherlands, but our courses are online. So everyone like Kaina can join from Australia. And I see that Ed is here as well, and Kathleen is here as well. Thank you for joining as well. Very great. So anyway, I was just explaining about how important is this science of glycobiology and that it needs to become way more mainstream, and that we as a Wellness Revolution are really trying hard to get this out in the world. And the beautiful thing is as well that we got such cool rewards for this, because we've been recognized by all kinds of companies to say awards with like best health and wellness online training, leaders to watch. So I'm very proud of to be part of the team, definitely. Oh, I see I made a little spelling error, but let's go to your bowels. Your deeper level is, we talked about cells, and then we go to your bowel, your gut. Because did you know that like 70% of your immune system is in your gut? And that's a lot. So looking well after your whole digestive system in these times is major important. Major important. I always say you're not only what you eat, you are what you can absorb. And the better your gut flora is, the more you are protected. And for some people, they say, oh, yes, of course, I know about probiotics and prebiotics. But for some people, especially when I teach in Amsterdam for the younger kids around like 25, 30, they have no idea what probiotics is. And I always say, listen, you need good guys. You need good bacteria in your gut. A lot, actually. And just think, if you had just had antibiotics, that means it kills all the good and the bad guys. And therefore, you need to repopulate your whole bowel with good bacteria. And if your bowels and your whole gut flora is in optimal health, you're very well protected for whatever comes in. So yes, that's a very important thing as well. That's tip number 3 and 4 after 21. And then how can you look well after your whole gut flora? Well, get in those good bacteria. And how do you get that in? Eat more fermented foods like yogurt, because yogurt is fermented milk, kefir, kombucha, miso soup, sauerkraut, gherkins, kimchi, all these things which are fermented. And if you eat it, you will definitely help your gut flora. And by the way, those essential sugars I was just talking about, they behave like prebiotics. So a probiotic, good bacteria, needs to eat something as well. Well, that's the 8 essential sugars, the glyconutrients. And another part, which is very important. So first we've got the good bacteria, but then the lining of your gut needs to be well and healed. And because a lot of things go wrong there, and perhaps you've heard about leaky gut syndrome. And what is actually a leaky gut syndrome? Well, it looks like this. If you have food coming into your bowels and there should be a lining which should be intact, what if there's a little tiny hole? Well, a little particle of food can come into your bloodstream, and it can cause all kinds of nasty things like inflammation. And if you're lucky, your microphage will come and clean it out and just get rid of it. But if your if your lifestyle is not so healthy and your arteries are not so super clean, and there might be a bit little clogged up, and what happens is this little particle of food comes in this clogged up artery. Well, if it would be a sink, you would just have this plopper and it will be open. With your arteries, you really have a problem. So therefore, I always say looking very well after your gut flora and your bowels is essential for your whole health. Well, what can you do food-wise to look after the lining of your gut? Well, I'm a super big fan. For everyone who follows me on social media knows that I love to make soup of most of the time bovine bones. Because when you make soup and you let it simmer for like more than 48 hours, then you extract all the good stuff, all the collagen, etc., and the glutamine and everything. And that, if you drink it, that will heal the inside of your bowel. So that is a possibility. If you want to know how do you make soup like your grandmother used to make it, I had this little film YouTube channel a long time ago. I put a film there which is how to make bone broth. It's in Dutch. I need to make subtitles about it anyway. Or you can also take a supplement and I have a lot of clients who are vegan and vegetarian. Well, there are different solutions for that, but your inside, your lining, super important. Okay, I see that Lori joined as well. Hi, Lori, great you're here. Great, we are gonna go on to the next tip. Number 5, remove all added sugar, bad sugar, not the healthy sugars I just talked about, the white flour products, the pasta from your diet. Because if your diet is high in glucose, your glycemic index, there's a lot of glucose in your blood. And if there's a lot of glucose in your blood, too much, it will lower the effectiveness of your immunity cells. Well, we want them to be super effective, I mean. And some people know what the glycemic index is, and other people have no idea what the glycemic index is. Well, good, I'm going to explain that to you in the next slide. What is actually the glycemic index? It's like your blood sugar level, the glucose level in your blood, and it's influenced by what you eat. Down here, you see this little chart, and it should be like a little stream, not this highs and lows, because your body and your pancreas don't really like that. If it spikes, if you eat something super sweet and then it just totally crashes down, and for a while your body can handle that. But if you do that way too much, then you'll suddenly end up with all kinds of nasty things like diabetes type 2, and you don't want to end up there. By the way, that's also very good removable or reversible, like I did with my brother, and by lifestyle changes. Very, very doable. But So all this sugar, all this white flour, all this stuff, if you want to support your immune system, stay away of that. Very important. And how can you do tip number 6? Like cinnamon can help you to stabilize your blood sugar level. You can put cinnamon in your yogurt, you can put it in your coffee. And by the way, if you're wondering what type of foods are low glycemic or high glycemic, browse the internet, low, high glycemic lists. You can find all kinds of lists. You can use your common knowledge, like if you have a pineapple, which is super sweet, that will raise your blood sugar level very high. And for instance, an apple or some blueberries will raise it less. So that you can think about it as well, but you can also check that out on the internet. So what do you eat then? Well, I would say focus on vegetables and a protein source. Can be meat, can be legumes, can be gluten-free grains for all vegans and vegetarians. But if you just coming time focus on that, that will be very, very beneficial for your body to stay away as much, of course, from, that's an open door for me. I forgot to put it here because stay away from processed food. All these things which are manufactured, they will, well, definitely harm your body in the long run. And I always say, eat real food. All right, tip number 8, perhaps an open door, but enough sleep. Of course, enough sleep. And why? Well, first of all, you have several stages of sleep. And the third stage of sleep is the most important stage. That's your deep, deep, deep sleep. And in that phase of sleep, all your chemicals and hormones, which you need the next day, will be prepared for you, nice and ready. But if you don't come in that deep level of sleep for the time you need to, next day your body wakes up, say, hey, where are all my hormones and chemicals? Well, I'm sorry, I couldn't. Okay, I'll just focus on the more important stuff. So therefore, first of all, for your hormones and chemicals, it's very important to sleep a lot, 7 to 8 hours. I see there's a little Dutch thing instead. I translated this presentation. Yesterday it was in Dutch. And I'm going to do these presentations like one day Dutch, one day English, one day Dutch. Anyways, sleep is vital to keep your immune cells ready to be able to fight all these infections. And if you have a shortage of sleep, it's like knocking down this first layer of defense. So please listen to your body and sleep enough. Very, very important. 9, wash your hands. Well, this is one where I thought, of course, we hear this so many times. But when I read this, I thought, okay, I need to share this with you, because not just wash your hands. It's like you have been just cutting chili peppers and you're going to put in your contacts. Well, that's the ferocity you need to be able to wash your hands, like very, very, very good, instead of what you normally do. And that is something which was for me a little eye-opener, I have to admit. I do have contact lenses, so I definitely know what it feels if you have not been doing that. Tip number 10, check your level of vitamin D. And vitamin D is something very important to prevent you for infection risk. And well, here in the Netherlands, Europe, kind of, you're lucky, you're in Australia, you have nice and sunny weather, but we come out of the winter, we're lacking vitamin D, and with my Body Analyst scan, I see a lot of people lacking vitamin D, and that will, it will not help you. So if you really want to be sure, then increase your vitamin level of D. And how do you do that? Well, first of all, when we have sun, please go outside and have sun. But luckily, well, you can choose to have a supplement, but also in these things, you have this is where the vitamin D is in. So the mushrooms, the salmon, and I always recommend go for organic as much as you can. Legumes, eggs, milk, butter, cheese. These are also sources of vitamin D. And I always say go for food. And yes, I will talk about supplements later and the importance of supplements. But first of all, focus on the real food. Tip number 11, eat garlic. And then especially the raw variation of garlic. This is to boost your natural immune killer cells. And then, well, you can choose just to eat the garlic like this, raw. I'm not a big fan of that. And I found this wonderful recipe in this book. It's from ladies in Austria, and these in Austria, they're very known for all their herbal things. It's naturally healthy, traditional garden kind of recipes. And they say you can make like a brewery from half a lemon, the complete lemon. Make sure it's an organic one, or brush it off, or clean it. A whole half lemon. 2, I didn't know what thyme and garlic was. I had to look it up. Anyway, 2 of those little things of garlic. I need to find the English word for it. Anyway, put them in the blender, high speed, 1 to 2 minutes, and then take 2 shots. And if the whole idea repulses you to eat raw garlic, this is very low on the stink level, I must say. I tried it myself, and this is you can do this like every day and give your family as well. This is really, really good to boost your immune system. Raw garlic. And of course, perhaps open door, a lot more vitamin C. Of course, vitamin C. Vitamin C is something our bodies can't make. And for prevention, well, everyone knows about the citrus. As I was in the local supermarket, all lemons were sold out, but vitamin C is in many, many more things. So vitamin C, really focus on that as well. In all these things are vitamin C. You can also, they're in almonds, they're in these legumes, and all in the fruits and in the vegetables, and in garlic as well. Here you can see. So incorporate these things as much as you can in your diet. Very, very important. The bell peppers, I give my kids like standardized every day a bell pepper. All right, tip number 13, bring more zinc into your system. And extra zinc is a very good choice if you're a bit worried. And zinc is a supplement, it's like a spore element we not really know a lot about, but how can you check that with yourself? Well, see, look at your nails. If you have got a lot of white spot, when I was young, they said, oh, you are lacking calcium. No, you're actually lacking zinc. And so you can check that out, or with the scan of the Body Analyst. It's very, very easily recognizable. And how do you then bring more zinc into your system? Well, I'm always for the whole food option. I know people who take supplements of it, but zinc comes in all these things. So radishes, and again, almonds, eggs, but also there's the seafood, avocados, spinach, linseeds, pumpkin seeds. So try to combine bulbs of garlic. Thank you so much, Kaina. She's helping me. Well, not the whole bulb. I'm referring to like 2 of those little things you need to put in the drink. Not 2 whole bulbs. That would be like a massive amount. Anyway, thank you, Kaina. And let's go back to the zinc. So these things are all very high in zinc, and the meat. So these are things you can incorporate more cashew nuts in your whole diet. Zinc, super important. And then is my favorite recipe, number 14, drink fire cider. There are more fire cider, different variations to look for online. And it's a drink, and you make like apple cider, and you put in garlic and pepper and horseradish and ginger, and you let it sort of sit, and all these ingredients that really on a natural way boost your cells. So as a preventive thing, you can take 1 tablespoon per day, or if you're not feeling very well, you can take like 1 tablespoon 4 times a day. So, and it looks a bit like this. You can add like real curcumin, you can add ginger, and you can make your own brewing. Cloves, yes, thank you, Aurora. I was looking for that word. A clove, of course, a clove. Yes, well, there you are. Together we can help each other. Good. Thank you so much, Aurora. I love your name, by the way. Very, very nice. If I would have another daughter, I would definitely call her Aurora. Okay, tip number 15, a cold shower. Well, some people, they wake up in the morning and it is not the first thing they think about, but you can do it in two ways. I trained myself to first a normal shower and then end with cold. That's a possibility. And now in the morning, I totally have a cold shower because all research is showing it stimulates your nerve system, and especially if the water is like here between your shoulder blades on that part. Well, and then how you do it, I would say just slowly build it up. And you can just after shower in. And for instance, Tony Robbins, he's a big fan of jumping in a lake or a river in the morning to wake up all your cells. And so how I am doing it, it's helpful to raise your heartbeat a bit by doing some kind of exercise things in the morning. So I have this morning routine where I do my exercises, of course the first visualization, etc. But then do these exercises, your heartbeat is a bit up, and then I have this wonderful mindset. Yes, nice cold water, instead of, oh my goodness, cold water. So I'm tricking myself to think I'm liking it. And then I just first my face, and then it's very good to start with your limbs. I was in a detox retreat and they did every morning, 7 o'clock, everyone needs to be there to have this special kind of, detoxing thing. First the limbs, and then the legs, and then I do the front, and then eventually I do the back. Important is to breathe instead of we're very it's very normal to hold your breath, but if you breathe with a cold, very easily doable, and then afterwards you will feel great. You're like, yes. And that's very good for immune system as well. I remember my parents used to do it when I was a kid. I didn't understand why, but now I know. Tip number 16, perhaps the Dutch people know this guy, Wim Hof. He is our personal Iceman. I did his training, the Iceman training, 5 years ago, where I was always cold. And he teaches you how to deal with the cold. And I was going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, so I thought, well, it would be handy if I would know what to do and not be cold all the time there. And he taught in this training a certain breathing technique. And this breathing technique, just look online, YouTube, Iceman training, Wim Hof breathing. That is massively supporting for your immune system. Because what do? Normally we breathe very shallow. Most of the people here, if you're lucky, they're a bit more here. And so the oxygen gets to a smaller part of your body. If you really deep have this deep breath, then you bring oxygen all the way to the top of your cells everywhere in your whole body. And the cool thing is, they did a test in a Dutch hospital, Radboud Hospital in Nijmegen, with a group, a control group, and they had been doing the training and they did the breathing. And another group of guys who didn't do all those things. They injected both groups with a certain mild virus, luckily not this virus. And they did this. So this is a whole scientific research. And the people who did the breathing and the cold, and they were not influenced by the virus. So you, by this breathing in the cold, can really, really stimulate your immune system. And Wim Hof thought then, oh my goodness, this is like world news. Everyone should be doing that. But I think around that time, there was this European Song Festival as well. So when his research came out, there was another big thing in the news. And he was like, well, anyway, search for it. It's super interesting. So breathing, massively important. Another tip, make a crazy coffee. I love crazy coffees. Everyone who comes to me here and there, my clients, client of this morning, she got a crazy coffee with plant-based milk. I use or organic soy or oat milk or whatever you like. And I always put in a spice mix with curcumin, a bit of cayenne pepper, some cinnamon or some nutmeg or nutmeg or some cardamom, things I like. I like the taste of it, and you can make a variation of it. And the cool thing is all these things have a certain health benefit for you. And if you're wanting to have a better lifestyle or a healthier lifestyle, it's not about a thing you do once or 3 times every week. It's about all these small things you do on a daily basis. Same with exercise, same I see with my clients who want to lose weight. And but to make a coffee like this with milk and all these things in it, you boost your immune system on a daily basis all the time. And that's actually what we need, but also what we can enjoy. So I'm always looking for these practical tips. Another practical tip, I love this one, dry brushing. That's before you shower in the morning. You can stimulate your whole lymph system by dry brushing. You can buy any kind of, those old-fashioned dry brushes with the steel like this. And you also start with the limbs, and then you stimulate your whole, with the lymph, you stimulate your whole lymph system. And so it's very good for detoxing, and it's very good for all kinds of things. And you get a very nice and smooth little skin from it. So that is something you can do from your home every morning, and it's really good for many things for you. Another thing, which we in the Netherlands, we don't have lockdown yet, so we are free to walk outside. And this to 30 minutes per day, 5 times a week, really walk, not but just, it's super good for your bone health, for your hormones. You have a lot of more oxygen, for your muscles, and all these things together make your immune system as well. It's very good for your digestion as well. So I want to give you these practical tips and tricks which in the total help you to build your immune system. So walk, please. All right. And the tip number 21, the importance of natural supplements instead of synthetic supplements. If we look at all the tips that I've been telling you about, then yes, of course you can incorporate every one of them. And I hope you've been writing them down or make mental notes of it. But the thing is, if I would say where to start with, I would always say in this moment, nutrition and good supplements, definitely. And what is then the difference between, because, well, in supplement land, there are like so many options. And I would also always go for something which is made from a natural thing. Like, for instance, I've got here some natural vitamin C, which is made actually from a berry. And I have other things as well. Well, this is another vitamin C, which is also made from a berry. I have their multivitamin, which is made from actual vegetables and fruits and all these things. And yes, then suddenly a supplement is way more expensive than the synthetic one you're buying at the grocery store for like €2.95. But there have been a lot of researches done on the difference between a synthetic supplement and a natural supplement, and in the long term, synthetic supplements may harm you. And first of all, you want to give your money to something which is not harming you, and your body needs something as well. So I always recommend be very critical, and there's a little document I can send to you if you're interested in that, how you can check if a supplement is synthetic or if it's natural. So these are all things. And another thing I love to use as well is this Sutherlandia, which is a herb from South Africa. It's an immune system booster, and I would focus on incorporate as much as real food in your body, and add it up with another one I really like, Epigenetics. Epigenetics is like a homeopathic one, and it's really good to focus. Oh, I see. I missed something. I added this bonus tip and I forgot to say that. I'm sorry. Anyway, what I wanted to say as well, Read the signals of your beautiful body. For instance, your lymph nodes here. I've been explaining this to a coaching client of mine. I said, just press here. And if you feel that something is just, if it's slightly tender, that is the right moment to go into action right now. If it's super sore, you're too late. So check your lymph nodes and listen to them, because they're like this portal where something came into your system, which does not need to go below there. So your lymph nodes, they swell a bit because they want to, they're like a guard, poortwachter. And how do I do that then? Because the day before yesterday, this one was a tiny bit swollen. So I take a lot of echinacea, I take a lot of vitamin C, I take a lot of glyconutrients, a good multivitamin. And then yesterday, this one, I felt it a bit, took it again. And there are so many natural things out there which really help. And I can't afford myself to be sick. I'm a mother here with kids. I've got a business to run. And these days, for me, it's really, really important. I want to share my knowledge. I want to give a lot of these masterclasses. I want to help as much as people as I can from my heart. So my question to you is, how can I help you? Do you have some kind of questions? Let's connect on social media. On Instagram, I give a lot of health tips all the time, Facebook as well, LinkedIn. And another thing is, if you would like to have more information, for instance, like a list with links where you can buy all those supplements, or you want to know more about these glyconutrients, like these healthy sugars you've never heard about perhaps, or the document I told you about where you can easily look for yourself, is something synthetic, is something natural. I've got a ebook with healthy recipes, which is in Dutch. And so if you're interested in that, just put your email address in the chat, or perhaps you want to have this Body Analyst scan. And well, then you need to live a bit closer than Kaina, who's in Australia. And what I also offer to the people, because I really want to be of good health, is like half an hour, a free online or telephone session with me, so I can really look into your personal business, your personal situation. And so if there's any of these things I can help you with, please leave your email address in the chat. And then I just really want to thank you for your attention. And I said it would be an hour, so it is an hour. And if you can let me know in the chat what you, if the information was valuable to you, or if you liked it. It would be very nice if I have some feedback. I'm sitting in this empty space with the computer. I know you're all the guys are there, so that would be very nice. Good. That was, yes, good, in an hour. I'm very, it's always, I'm trying to be as to the point as possible. Oh, thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, Aurora, as well. I know everyone is busy, I'm busy as well, but in a very short amount of time, give a lot of valuable information and share it, please. I'm gonna give this masterclass way more often, because a lot of more people need to know, to feel a bit more in control, instead of just, I don't know what to do, or I know a bit of this, a bit of that. If you combine these, really, really good. So, kind of very welcome, done. And I will be giving this as well, so we might be able to see what a good time for you in Australia is, and then you can share it with all your friends, and they can come along. Oh, Abby, thank you. Wonderful, valuable information. Let me know when the next one is in English. Yes, the next one in English is coming Saturday at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock European time, because I've got a lot of friends from America. It needs to be there like in the morning. So coming Saturday, this one will be there in English as well. And tomorrow morning at 12 o'clock, a Dutch version. And on Instagram, I'm sharing the links in my bio. You can see the links where you can sign up or register. I'm creating at this moment like a place on my website where you can see where the next one is. So anyway, all right. I love doing this. I love sharing my knowledge with you, and I want to give you some, good positive vibes, and there's hope, and we all need to help each other in this time. So take care, have a wonderful evening, and go early to bed. Bye bye.